Hello, everybody. We're having a fantastic day here in Kansas City. I hope you are having a fantastic day wherever you are. And if you're in Kansas City, it's a beautiful day. Kathy and I are excited to talk to you today about something. And sometimes I like to just start off chit chatting a little bit to give
Mm-hmm.
people time to get on and before
Yeah,
we really, share things. I
that's
was going to,
important,
well, what I was going to, what is remind people that this Saturday at 4 o'clock
right?
at Revive Church, whether you go to our church or not, tell your friends. We're going to be talking about marriage.
Yeah,
I wouldn't say seminar. Um, there's also a fish
it's
fry.
going to be a fish fry talk,
Yeah, and I don't know
marriage talk.
if we start talking at 5, I guess we'll probably go to 6
Oh,
easily.
just six?
Yeah, but
Yeah.
I'm trying to think of it, and we did one other time,
Uh huh.
and we it was pretty light and fun,
Yeah.
and I said a lot of funny stuff and stuff
Well,
that
of
raised
course you did.
eyebrows and
Yeah.
things like
Yeah.
that. But this time I'm trying to get maybe a few of the practical
Hmm.
and deeper things,
Okay.
because
Hmm.
marriages and relationships are they do struggle,
Yeah.
and I don't think they know why.
Right.
And I think back on ours, if as people are coming on, I hope they hear this later too. Though, really, if I now being transparent,
Yeah.
I realize after being married this many years how much time we wasted over stupid things, little
Yeah.
things.
Very things, and I remember in what is the Song of Songs or something that says the verse says it's the little foxes
Yeah,
that
Solomon.
Solomon, and it's the little foxes that spoil the vine, the
Yeah,
little sneaky things that get in, and
and they add up.
yeah, they add up, and they're just nothing in themselves, but then they add up and
And another
spoil.
thing that
Yeah.
happens with those little foxes or the little things that add up is then we process it
Yes.
bigger
Mm-hmm.
or wrongly. And then
Right.
another thing that I was thinking about that we'll talk about maybe Saturday
Mm-hmm.
is you and I know this preconceived ideas of what marriage should be like, could be like, or what direction we're going to go,
Right.
who we're going to be, what it's going to be like. And first of all, it's you never if you haven't been married, you don't know. And you a lot of times you have to take your cue from your parents' marriage or
Right.
or grandparents'
Sure.
marriage. But then you got to have for Christians, you got to put the God element in there because you know what, God has a right to give us the information and the direction as we can handle it and as
Mm-hmm.
we should adapt to it.
Right.
So sometimes we get a picture before marriage and then after marriage
Yeah.
and it's correct.
Mm-hmm.
And that and the correct one, now we need to respond to what he's giving us. But then God has the right to alter, change and redo it,
Right.
and then we respond to that one on level to level.
Yes.
And Jesus told the disciples, he said, I have a lot of things to tell you, except you wouldn't be able to handle it all right now. And so God treats us
Right.
that way, gives us what we can. We think, there, we got it. We know who you're going to be. I know who I am. I
Oh
know what I
boy.
like. And then
Yeah.
it starts altering, or we
Mm-hmm.
have children and it
Right.
alters, or we just get a little
Yeah.
older, wiser. Uh, Maybe a little debt comes in. Well, if
Mm-hmm.
that's going to alter, whatever.
And a little more life comes in.
Yeah, right.
Plain old life.
Yeah,
Yeah.
life things.
Life things.
Yeah.
Things of
So
life.
circumstances and situations and
Right.
things that we didn't anticipate.
Yeah.
So,
Mm-hmm.
I don't know what they say. A good word they say today. They use the word things are fluid. I never heard that before till a few
Yeah.
years ago. Fluid.
Right.
But I
Fluid.
think it just means fluid. Just means it's flowing and going and changing, and so you have to be
Right.
fluid. I think with God and let Him
Yeah. Just go with the flow.
go
Really,
with the flow.
God.
So those are the two things. I think the
Sometimes.
little things add
Yeah.
up,
Yeah.
and you have to know when it is you've heard me say to Kathy, this is just a speck.
Right.
We need to know which the weightier things and the
Mhm.
heavier things and the lighter things.
Right.
What's just a speck and
Yeah.
what's really something
Yeah.
challenging, important, or maybe dangerous to our
Yeah.
relationship or to our lives.
And I think for women sometimes, because sometimes women, not you, but
I'm not a
most
woman, so
women,
it can't be me.
No,
Back
I
up.
was
Say
going to
that again.
say women more than men
Yes. Okay.
tend to look more at the details
Yeah.
of life,
Yeah.
and every detail. And you hear, here your kid's going to have a ballet lesson. Well, the husband goes, okay. But the wife begins to think, oh, well, how will we arrange when she can eat to have some vitamins and energy? And, oh, I haven't washed her tutu yet.
Mm.
And blah, blah, blah. And they're all little tiny specks. But then those kind of things can add up and start causing a tizzy
Especially if
for everyone.
a husband or wife, but particularly the husband looks
Yeah.
like Why are you telling me this?
I know.
I mean, of course we have to do those things, but why
Yeah,
are we talking
but-
about it?
yeah,
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But I
So
get
those
it.
are a speck, and yet sometimes us ladies could blow them up a little bit more than they should be
Mhm.
blown up. That's what I'm saying. I know sometimes I take those little specks, and all of a sudden they're a mountain, or instantly they're a mountain, and I know it's very embarrassing when I do that.
I've said to you before, a phrase I used with you before, like, Kathy, why are you stirring the pot? Just let it sit.
I know.
Why? It's on the stove. Everything's okay. It's cooking. Why are you picking it up and stirring it? Let it, So,
Oh, well, you know what? I can always say I don't relate to that because I don't cook anymore.
well, but you're what?
Why am I
can,
stirring the microwave?
Yeah, whatever why are you stirring this up bigger than it has to be? Well, we already got it. We got the
Yeah.
subject. Now let's leave it and let's go to something else. But our
Yeah,
lives
yeah.
our lives are I am at least. I'm
Yeah.
full of a lot of information,
Mhm.
a lot of things go on. So
Right.
you can tell I go once we say that, I'm
Yeah.
ready to go to the next thing.
Yeah.
And sometimes you're not.
Well,
But that's okay. I'm just
rightfully
saying
so.
it is.
I mean, yeah.
It is what it is. And
It
so
is
we
what
have
it
to we
is.
have to balance.
And we can't let that be a little fox.
No, but there are big things that can wreck a
Major
marriage. Yes,
things.
there are big things.
Huge things.
But most of the marriages and people we deal with that are trying to serve God, go to church, etc.,
yeah.
want to be good, have a good marriage like that. It's usually not big things.
Right.
It's usually just irritating things,
Mhm.
and then the brain. I have learned to filter out. I don't think the things that just anything. I know how to filter out and keep my mind on things above.
Right.
But if you're younger
Mhm.
and more mature, and I don't say that disrespectfully, but just
Right.
you do get older and mature and see things differently. But younger, less experienced with God, less experienced with the things of the Spirit, I noticed that people then they can't filter out, and it just their thoughts go and they
Right.
build up what they want and they interpret things the way they want
Yes.
based on sometimes their past experiences
Mhm.
or fears.
Mhm.
I say it over and over and over. Fear, don't let fear make a decision.
Mhm.
Fear is a terrible decision maker.
Right.
But our fears and our anxieties, and all of a sudden, a good relationship is being crowded
Mm.
by one of them that hears a voice or a notice that, well, I'm not appreciated. I'm not loved. I wonder if he loves me. I wonder if he
Right.
thinks I'm still okay looking
Yeah.
or whatever,
Mhm.
So, so you got to filter those things
Yeah,
out.
you do.
Because most of the time it's not what you think it is. It can be sometimes, but
Right.
a lot of times you just start, and then it just if you start thinking those things, you start acting on them. It's only
Right.
going to make it worse.
And then you can create more things and thoughts.
yeah,
as you,
it can
you
be
accept them, and lots of times they're like a thought that's floating through the air, and you think it's you,
yeah.
and then you say, "Yeah, man, I'm just mad at him. I'm ticked off because he didn't blah blah blah," and then you could resist that thought right then or capture it because it's not really your thought. It just came at you, and like a little thought says, "Hey, accuse him in your heart of not doing blah blah blah."
Yeah.
And then by the time you go, "Yeah, I'll accept that," you're saying, "I think you don't do that," and
Yeah.
it's crazy.
Resentment, unforgiveness,
Yeah.
or some heavy stuff. But then again,
Yeah.
resentment and unforgiveness, that's big stuff. It's that the little foxes are just irritants,
Right.
but it adds up.
It does add up to
And
where
so
it's
on,
big.
on this weekend, I hope that I can express a little bit more about the role of a husband and the role of a leader, and
Mhm.
what just the actual stuff that we actually do and did that
Right.
helped us and that made a difference.
Mhm.
We didn't do it perfectly all the time, but it really worked for us, and I think it'll work for most people
Right,
if they
and I think
get
it
it.
worked for 50 years.
Yeah.
So
But today
that's pretty good.
I brought a paper in,
Okay.
and I did write. I'm glad you brought it. I did write Solomon 2:15. I didn't write it out, but that's the little
What's the little
foxes.
foxes?
About the
Okay.
foxes, and I called today the little foxes.
foxes.
Yeah. So I wrote down some stuff. We don't have time for all of it. Look, I got a lot of stuff here, but anyway, I thought about the little foxes and lighten it up a little bit
Mhm.
today, because sometimes we don't get to talk about these things, and they are important things. So
Mhm.
I put down here things you never. This is for everybody, but we're gonna just bring up a couple. Like in your relationship, think about things you never thought you'd argue about, and so mine is, and it was an argument at one time.
Mhm.
Then now it has turned into laughter. because if we see it happening again. Ours was started with fast food late at night.
Oh, yeah.
We were in St. Louis. I may have told this story before, maybe, but we were in St. Louis. It's fast food, and it's 10, 11. That's the only places that are open, and you hadn't eaten, and you're hungry, and you want to eat. Okay, fine. And we had a great night. I don't remember. We went and did something. It was a great night. It might have even been our anniversary, to be honest.
Dear.
Maybe. I'm not sure, but anyway, because we were in
Could
St.
have
Louis.
been.
Yeah, but anyway, so I bring up okay, where would you like to eat? And you just casually said, oh, well, it doesn't matter. Any place is fine with me. So I drive and I drive and I drive, and there's a place. How about this place? You go, no, man, I hate that place. I go, oh, well, I searched all over for it because I thought you said, and I knew they'd be open. No, I hate that place. And I go, okay. So then I go again. I said, well, here, let me find this one. I'm looking at it. Oh, how about this? Here's one. And I start pulling. I hate the food here. And so that started it.
So
I said, what are you talking about? You just told me it didn't matter, but now you're saying you hate the place. So why don't you just tell me what you want to eat and where you want to go? And you probably don't remember this, but your answer is, well, I don't want to do that. I want you to be the husband and pick places, and I want you to pick places for me and think what I would, and I go, okay, I don't know why it escalated. All I remember is it escalated to the point that the conversation moved to my foot pedal on the gas.
Oops.
I remember that,
I
and all of a sudden, I just couldn't take it anymore. And the only way I could let out the steam was to step on the gas and drive fast. And I don't know how it ended. I don't know if we finally. I don't know how it ended. I can't remember, but I do know that's a start.
I'm so embarrassed.
And then it escalated. This wasn't an argument, but it came. The next level to that was then I was in a big hurry, or we were, to get someplace, and maybe ministry, maybe something. But we were in a hurry. We had a time schedule, and you needed to get something to eat, and we went to McDonald's, and I thought, dude, you just. So the first thing we do, and I mentioned this before, is we pull up to the thing and we're supposed to order, and I say, okay, well, tell me what you want, or we'll tell them what we want, and you go, I don't know, I need to look at the menu, and Kathy, it's McDonald's, everybody knows the menu,
Well,
and then when you
they add specials in for a month
but
or
then
so.
what you did was we're on a time schedule,
Yeah.
and so I order mine, and you say, I'll take a fish sandwich, and they go, okay. That would be a few minutes. We don't. And why did you order now? So they make us pull over. Yeah, we had to pull over and wait, and we're on schedule.
I'm so embarrassed.
And I said, why did you order a fish sandwich? It's the very thing they don't have ready. So now we laugh about that one. And then the last, and then
that was kind of rough. Sorry.
Yeah. Well, it was okay. It was okay because it was just like what. But it wasn't like in St. Louis. It wasn't that one. But
I still want a nice fresh fish sandwich.
And you still pull up and wherever and sit
Usually,
and and cars are piling up behind us, and they're going like, we could have discussed what you want. We know these menus, but we don't do fast food that often anyway.
No, we don't. But when I do go through McDonald's now, it is like a minor investment of money. So I do take more time.
Yes, I went yesterday for our grandson to, well, I'll just say it, Wendy's, and just got him the plain double this and big fries and a big drink, and it's $20. I almost spent $20. So okay. Well, you bring I brought up fast food.
For
you bring up one.
yourself?
No, just for him. One person, him. Okay, so you bring up one thing, something where we get into.
Where's a little fox?
Yeah, where we get to
Where's a little
stupid little
fox? It
tension.
makes us stupid.
Tension.
Let me tell you, I know you all know this because I've shared it before, but it is getting places when we don't know where we're going. And it used to be really bad reading the map. We've told horror stories of that in the car with you.
That didn't work.
And I can't read a map anyway. And then when you're driving down the highway 60 miles an hour and you say, where are we? And I go, I don't know, because you keep moving the car, stuff like that. But now
with GPS.
It's with GPS even.
Well, it's helped.
Well, yeah, it's helped. But sometimes, I don't know, I just put it all on you. You just never, sometimes I'll beg you, pull over, honey, so we can let them Siri have a chance to recalibrate and know where we are. You can't even.
And so I can hear it and see it, yeah.
Yeah, but you won't do it.
That's even today.
You will not.
Yeah, pull over.
So, that is my little fox, and even as I talk, I feel a giant fox
What about
forming.
I did something for you though the other day. I reminded you. I actually turned around and went back because I
know.
don't like to like if it's like that and we're going like you say, well, turn around and go. It'll be easier if we go back. Like no, I can find the way. And like I guess
I
I'm
know.
in the trailblazing forest. I'm Daniel Boone
Right.
cutting my way through.
You've
I can
always
do it.
been. Yeah, Daniel Boone. Yeah, you did it. You did.
I just
You
once.
yeah, just once.
Well, I did pull
But-
over the other day
Yeah,
too.
but that time then when finally Siri was going, do a U-turn, do a U-turn. Well, you did the swiftest, most rough U-turn I've ever lived through.
Yeah, I know. And you
You were like, I can beat those cars, and I'm like, you can beat those cars. Jesus, help us.
and we were in GPS. He was telling us where to go, but traffic was really heavy, and
Yeah.
we needed to get someplace,
Yeah.
and so I was really going.
Yes,
And
you were.
by the time we got there, you were wobbly getting out of the car, but me,
Yeah,
I'm
I
laughing
was.
but me, I'm going like, what is wrong with you? That was fun. That was.
But see,
it
that's
was a
the
blast.
difference between husbands and wives.
Yeah. Plus,
also.
I was driving.
Yes, you were in charge, and you didn't sense all the jerking and this and that.
If you were driving, it
You
would have
didn't
been.
live through
if you were
that.
driving, though, it would have been a different experience
Well,
for
of
me
course, you would have been telling me what to do every 5 seconds.
too. You do that too.
Do
though.
you experience that, ladies?
But she does it too. She just doesn't know she does it. She's putting on the brake. She's telling me about the lights and that it turned green. But that's
well, we
so
won't
anyway,
go there.
Yeah, but that's what we're talking about. But
Yeah,
we have learned to enjoy the differences and
Right.
laugh about those things,
Yeah,
right?
we have.
I just laugh at you.
I don't know.
anyway.
I'm getting mad now. You just laugh at me.
Yeah, I just laugh at your reactions. They're so big driving, and there's cars everywhere, so you're going to have lots of reactions. So I just laugh at them now. But
I'm
that's
glad.
yeah, and the directions I don't care anymore. I just
Yeah.
enjoy. But anyway, okay. So it's
Okay, so anyway.
that was our little things. Okay, wait a minute. What about
Okay.
this one? I thought I had another one was like pet.
I don't know.
I thought I had one.
Kenda, she says Mark just grips the seat.
Yeah.
That's he's got a lot of wisdom because he doesn't open his mouth. He just grips
I,
the seat.
Oh, I had another pet peeve on here that is real short to tell this one. So I can't. It doesn't bother me. It's not going to affect us at all. But I never could figure out why you don't put the cap on the toothpaste because it dries out and it goes and it starts running out
I know.
and you just all you got to it's right there. Just put it on, but you don't. You throw it in the drawer without it.
I know,
And
and
I
I
don't-
always think.
I don't know
always
if that's
think,
a pet peeve, but
I always think, why am I doing that?
so okay.
I don't
so
know, and I squeeze it from the middle,
yeah, that's true.
and then it's all, and then I just.
I mean, what a
shove it
small
in,
thing.
And
How many
I'm,
people, Kathy, have been divorced over toothpaste?
I don't know, probably a 3 million billion.
Yeah, but that's just something. But you had one.
Yeah.
What about me? I don't do anything. Do I?
No, you just wear so you will have lightly worn that shirt, and you will go upstairs instead of hanging up a lightly worn shirt.
Like an hour.
Like for an hour, instead of hanging it up, you go and you have a little pile on your side of the closet where things just kind of get thrown and then wadded.
And sometimes I lay it out, but then the next day I lay out
Throw
another
it-
one.
And then they slide off and they're wadded.
Yes.
That
and then
is
what
a pet
happens?
peeve of mine.
And then what happens?
And they lay wadded for a week. So then finally, a week later, I will grab them and say, "May I wash these?"
No, sometimes
lightly
no.
worn.
Sometimes they just disappear, and that's my pet peeve. But anyway, let's
No,
go into
they're
another one
di-
here.
They're
Okay.
they're in a dirty clothes basket.
Okay, let's do another one. Is our time right? Just looking at
I don't
that?
think our
Yeah?
time is right,
Yeah.
Jeremiah.
Okay, it doesn't matter, but okay. Here, I got this. Okay, when we talk about married life, I have something. This is not us, okay, but bugs me, and I put it on this paper. Real married life versus movie love life,
Movie love life.
and I'm going to just say it. It drives me crazy. Okay, because it's not like that at all. How many times are you watching a show and everything's good? Everything's good. You try to find the clean ones and all that kind of stuff, and everything's good.
Yeah.
But then you can tell these two are starting to get feelings for each other. They're probably not married, obviously.
Yeah.
They get feelings for each other and then they always do the same thing. Here they go for it, and they burst into the room. They throw their arms around each other, and he picks her up and slams her against the wall. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
I see that how many times, and then they're going to start flipping off clothes and stuff like that.
Steve,
I'm just telling the
I can't believe
truth.
you're saying this
Yeah,
in
but-
the middle of the day.
But wait a minute. That's not going to happen.
No,
And
it
besides
isn't.
that,
Right, it isn't.
I'm thankful that I've lost a little weight. But most Americans are just a little pudgy.
right.
I don't think after so much marriage, I don't know if we can pick each other up and slam each other against the wall. But on TV, they do it. They do it every time.
Believe you.
Well, it is.
Well,
and
I
that gives a
know.
false. And I look at it
That's
like,
not marriage.
no, I'm just thinking that's just it. I'm just saying that's not a good one.
No.
So here I dropped that
Movie
paper.
love. Oh,
Here.
that's okay.
I
Do
don't
you
know
need
what's. Well, I want to.
Well, Jeremiah, bring him. Can you come get this?
I have one more.
Thank you.
You can take. Well, here, just give me that. Thanks. I want to see what I had on here. I forgot. Well, maybe okay. Married life. Things you never. The only thing, last thing I wanted to do is just, and we'll mention that this is gonna. We'll lead into this on Saturday,
Okay.
but a lot of tension comes with how to spend money. We'll probably talk about that.
That's big.
But parenting.
Yeah.
A lot of people parent the way they were parented and think, well, it worked for me. It worked for me, but the world is not what it was when you were young. It's
No.
different, and we need different parenting,
Right.
and we need different ways, and we need
Mm.
more ways to really be an authority, strength. If we just give in, or we use all the techniques that people use today to. So, I thought you want to mention what did we do? Where did we go with it? I think we went old fashioned, out of date,
I think we did.
outdated way. Yeah.
Right. Yeah. And I think it was like, I was respected and had authority or whatever, but when issues were coming up and persistent or just an issue that could get out of hand, I would just say I would defer to you in my heart, and then I'd say let's wait till Dad gets here.
Yeah.
Let's wait and let Dad handle this.
When we were kids, remember TV shows like "Wait till your father gets home."
Yeah.
And the mother would lose the temper. Wait till your father gets home, and maybe we got some of that, but it really worked
Right,
because
it
was
wait.
first of all, you deferred to somebody else who is going to take it calmly. I wasn't in the heat of the moment, and we'll take it calmly, and I would try to preface it with beforehand, if we have this kind of behavior, this kind of that this is what will happen. And so I never lost my temper.
Right.
It would be
No,
rare
you-
if once or twice in the whole years
Keep
of
your
kidding.
cool.
Yeah.
Uh-huh,
Because I always
yeah.
say real authority doesn't have to lose a temper. I explained it ahead of time. So this is the way it's going to be. And and I did some strong things, but calmly, lovingly. They knew ahead of time.
Yeah.
And told them, if we survive this, though, blessing is on the other hand. Yesterday, and we'll
Right.
end with this. Yesterday, I forgot who I was talking to, but I told him, that one way of parenting is like God. If you can bless the Lord and keep the Lord in the right place, then the blessings come. Well, I'm not God,
Yeah.
so I can't put it in the God realm, but I did put it in this realm. I said, you know what? If you want to be blessed, just make me happy. I want to just make me happy, and you'll be
Yeah.
blessed.
Yeah.
And then it almost was funny. And then when it would get off, or the attitude, or one of them did something they shouldn't do, or was going a direction with a friend I didn't care for, I would just sit down and tell them, I just need to tell you something. This doesn't make me happy.
Yeah.
And when I'm not happy, blessings stop. And if you want them back, all you have to do is make me happy.
There you go.
And we went through that. I know who we were talking to yesterday. And we went back, and one situation with Brooke was turned out to not be a good situation, and she was driving the van that was a really nice van, but it was outdated, and
It was my granny van.
yeah,
originally.
but you bought a car then, and I
Yeah.
bought a SUV, and we
Right.
still had the van though, and
Yeah.
we were letting the church use it. But then we just let Brooke use it all she wanted to, and she drove around in and all that.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden, some things that were not so good, and I wasn't happy about it. And it wouldn't be small things; it had to be something significant. But and so I wasn't happy. So one day I got the van and I gave it away to another minister.
That's right.
Gave it away, and it was a valuable van.
Yeah.
And I just gave it away.
Yeah.
And she came home, and it was gone. And she, where's the van? And I said, I gave it away. How'd you give it away?
Yeah.
I wasn't happy. Now I said, but if you can make me happy, I'll get you something better. You won't have to drive an old granny van. We'll get you a nice car, and you will be blessed. And you know what? She was great. And it was a few ups and downs like all kids, but
Yeah.
we worked it out,
Yeah.
and she did. She got a nice car.
Right. Yeah.
And you know why?
She did.
Because she made me happy. Now,
Yeah.
and when you put it in the
That's-
God realm,
Yes.
bless the Lord.
Bless the Lord.
Be who he wants you to. Honor God. Be
Mhm.
faithful. Honor, whether you're an adult or a child, and those blessings come. If you make God unhappy, you might come and find your car got stolen or something like that. So anyway, fun stuff today. I hope it was helpful. That yes, we went through those things too, and we realized that today more than ever, in this stage in our life,
Mhm.
I am talking to you, and we are communicating more
Right.
and more about not allowing little things to become bigger than they ought to be.
Right.
Laugh at what we can, laugh at ourselves, and then let's tackle and be on target for the big things that really change others' lives and ours. Make sense?
Amen.
So
Yes.
Saturday, don't forget Saturday, and of course we have church tonight, and there's all this weekend. But Saturday come to the marriage thing, and we'll see what we got next. Thanks for watching and listening to us. Till next time. Bye-bye.